did this last year. This should be really, really, really familiar. I am recording. So there are 5 sampling methods.
I bet you the first one's convenient.
You bet the first one's convenient, you think? Doesn't want to go, but all right, yes. You remember convenient sampling. You collect the sample from whoever's available. So you stand out in lunch and you interview the first 20 people in the lunch line. That's convenient, easy, but is it a good sample?
Yeah.
Convenience is often questionable. When you see the TV news reporters standing, once again, on the street corner interviewing people who just walk by, they're not getting reliable results. They're just getting whoever.
Should we be concerned in the car?
No, we should not. Okay, fine. If you interview the people who walk into the football game, just as they walk in, that's convenient sampling. It's easy, but are you guaranteeing you're getting the opinions of a variety of people, or whatever you're asking them to do? So convenience is the one you want to avoid. You are not allowed to do convenience on your project.
Dang it.
You can do one of these other 4. In fact, in some cases, many of you will end up doing 2 of the 4 here. If you do random, every item has to have an equal chance of being selected. Okay, that means if it's a small group you're trying to select your sample out of, like here at school, literally put every person's name in the hat and draw out names. Or in our case, what you'll do, I'm going to be giving you lists of the names of every student in the school. If you assign them all a number and then let your calculator randomly pick random numbers, that would be randomly picking people to interview. Yes, your calculator can pick random numbers. And I'm sure we'll be under menu statistics something. Systematic, okay? Systematic is one that will also work well for you all on your project, because I'm giving you a list of names. You take every 10th person on the list and interview them, or every 5th person on the list. Here in Seneca, well, it used to be you could have gone through the phone book and taken every so manyth person. Now, lots of people aren't in the phone book. If you type the TH space, it should automatically pop up automatically.
They didn't do it for mine.
Okay, if not, you can highlight and press hold Control Shift plus.
Roll, shift, plus.
Or you can go to superscript, yeah. Nope. It's not essential that the TH is raised. It's okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay, if that's really important to you. Stratified and cluster, the last 2, are the 2, we tend to get these 2 mixed up. Okay, you will notice, both of them, and here, once I put up cluster, both of them say divide the population into groups. So both these next 2 you divide into groups. It's how you pick from the groups that matters. This one, you select a few items from every group. So here at school, you're stratified as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. So it would be easy to say I'm going to do 10 freshmen, 10 sophomores, 10 juniors, 10 seniors. And you randomly pick those people from each of the groups. So stratified picks some from every group. On the other hand, there's cluster. Cluster also divides into groups, but then you randomly select a few groups and you survey everybody in those few groups. So here at school, probably the easiest way, well, okay, right now, everybody's in a Block 2 class. You randomly select 4 classes and you go do everybody in those 4 classes. The giveaway to cluster is that you are doing all of the people in that group, or all the items in that group. You do all the people in those groups you pick. Yeah, you could do cluster. You could do seminars. You could randomly pick a few seminars and do everybody in those seminars. and go down
All
on your house on all three streets.
She runs the street on that day.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm starting to get scared.
Okay, so that's your 5 sampling methods. You all are going to hopefully choose from the 4 and pick a good method.
Hey, just a second.
Don't, okay.
I got behind doing
Okay.
that whole.
Okay, now, what's the biggest problem with doing sampling?
L.
The errors that come from the sampling.
Both of those might be big L ones.
Yeah, cluster does have the potential. You better be sure all your groups are pretty similar types when you pick them. Because, yeah, cluster could have some pretty serious error in it. Here at school, you guys pick in seminars. If you pick seminars, think about it. Most of the seminars are the seminar of seniors or the seminar. They're a little mixed, but they're not. That's like there's freshman, sophomore, junior, seniors in every one.
Very mad.
I saw mix.
Is it even freshmen?
One's I got seniors or one's a smart one or whatever. There's like a smart seminar or something.
You were originally the super seminar? Or, yeah. So it was all juniors and seniors and just a few sophomores.
Oh yeah, I guess it's not.
You don't have any freshmen.
Super seminal.
All right. Sampling errors then. What kind of errors come from the fact that we're using a sample? Okay. And this one's kind of annoying because they just name it sampling error. Okay. This one's going to happen automatically. If you're going to use a sample to represent your population, you're going to get this error. Because the chances that your sample is exactly like your population is virtually 0. So there's always going to be some sampling error. That's what you expect. If you know your sample is going to be a little bit different than your population. So that's unavoidable. It happens every time.
No.
Okay. Non-sampling error is what we want to avoid. That occurs when you've either incorrectly collected your data, recorded it, or analyzed it, meaning you did the math wrong. So incorrectly collected it means you didn't use a good sampling method. Or we had this issue last year. Somebody who was measuring something, when they first started out doing it, they didn't have a mark where the people should start. What they were having, they were run a distance or what they were having doing. They didn't have it well marked to make sure that everybody was starting at the exact same place, stopping at the exact same place. You got to make sure you thought through the process of how you're going to do your study to make sure it's the same for every single person. So that's, yeah, and with experience you get better at not having that kind of error involved. Recording it, suppose you you look at the stopwatch wrong and you get the time written down wrong.
You should probably check your time.
So you can do that kind of thing. Or analyzing it, that's a mistake in your math. Or did you actually do the calculation incorrectly? Now, as far as your project goes, you're going to be able to do the majority of your calculations with your calculator. And you will be able to put your data into a spreadsheet and let it do a lot of the work for you. You can't quite do it all, but it will do a lot for you. So, how do we reduce our sampling errors and get rid of them? Okay, does anybody remember what bias was?
Systematic L.
Systematic error happens every time. That was your scale being off by 2 pounds. So, if it's something like that that's happening every single solitary time, then change your measuring instrument. Get a better scale.
Yeah.
Get a better stopwatch, whatever you need to improve it so that you don't have that kind of error. Improving reliability.
Or find out how far it's off, by the way.
Yeah, you could correct it. You found out how far it's off. That's very true. Reliability meant you were supposed to get the same answer every time you did it, or similar answers every time you did it. In your case, some of them last year, I can't remember what it was they did, but I remember them writing on their project reports, we probably should have asked each person to do this task twice, and then use the average of their results from it. they thought they'd have gotten better results if they'd had him perform the task twice.
I think that would have threw it off more, like doing that puzzle and stuff, but then you would have known.
Yeah, it would have been or that you'd had to give him a different puzzle.
Yeah.
I forgot C. That's how my automatic numbering got messed up somewhere along the way. Sorry. Okay, sample size. I actually will be teaching you toward the end of this chapter how you actually figure out and calculate how many people do you need to sample. Because there actually is a method for calculating how many need to be sampled based on your population. If you've only got a population of 100 people, I think it turns out you need to sample like 80 of them or something. But if you start getting up to 1 million, you only need to sample, I think it's 364 people to have an accurate sample. There's actually a statistical method based on the normal curve that will
But the normal
let you
curve
sort
is way wrong, because,
And what's the normal curve based on?
yeah,
a study of
fake stuff, study of fake stuff.
they've
Yep,
tested people, thousands and thousands and thousands of people in whatever area to determine what the normal curve is. But there is a method. In the case of for here at school, where we're kind of limited and I can't have you bugging the entire school student body, you have to test 40 people for me. Unfortunately, we can't do it as accurate a sample size as we might like, because you would be bugging too many people. Okay. Our biggest problem, and so you will experience a little of this, not too bad. The biggest problem, though, for most studies, particularly if you're trying to get people in Seneca or if you're trying to do a nationwide study, you send them a survey, what's going to happen? They're not going to turn it back in. Yeah. Non-response is your biggest problem. Some of you will experience that here. If you happen in your selection of your sample, however you choose to select the people, if you do get some of our students in this building who don't come to school very often, you may have a difficult time ever catching up with them to get that done. And in some cases, you may never get them sampled, in which case you'll have to indicate that in your error when you're describing what errors
So
happen.
nobody pick Edgar.
You don't get to pick them. It will be picked for you by the method. But non-response can be an issue.
Okay, I'm just gonna cut Eddie out, man.
If you have somebody you can't just ever catch up with and you've legitimately tried and I can verify that they have not been in the building much, then I'll forgive you that person and you just have one less piece of data.
Eddie's been to 1 full week of school. The whole year. Last week was his first full week.
I have a low battery, so we need to speed this up.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Ron Baum scream's getting dark.
You don't have a power
No, I
source?
don't have my power cord.
How do you see that, dude?
Okay, well, we're on the last section here, so that should help. Okay, abuses of statistics. How do people misuse statistics? Because, look, guys, I'll tell you that statistics can be valuable information or they can lie to you. I should stop that.